Twazi here, and in this video, I want to share with you a comprehensive guide to completely eliminating and eradicating procrastination. By the end of this video, you're going to learn exactly how I overcame procrastination in my life, really got started on my business, or even in other areas of my life, and how you can replicate this system, use it for yourself, and learn how to propel yourself whenever you want. This is going to be a very, very key turning point for you, even if you don't find you procrastinate, but you're going to start to see subtleties where you do start to make all of these excuses that kind of hold you back. I want you to stick around to the very end of this video, because by the end of this, I'm going to share with you the 3 keys that you can keep implementing over and over and over again to help you come out of procrastination and truly learn how to propel yourself and tap into your internals to propel you externally. Before I begin this video, I want to quickly announce that a couple of spots have opened up for the free one-to-one consult with me and my team for the Reality Mastery program. Make sure you wait around till the end of the video for the announcement on that and how to enroll. And with that, let's get started. So in this video, I want to talk to you about procrastinating and why procrastination happens and why people procrastinate and why you've been trying so many different things to try and overcome it and none of it's really worked. And really what I want to share with you is that procrastination occurs because of a lack of motivation. And we're going to define what motivation really means in a second. But what you've got to know is it's because of a lack of motivation. All right? It's not because of a lack of the right morning routine. It's not because of a lack of the right, daily routine, nightly routine, or etc., insert XYZ tactic or technique. It's not because of a lack of any of those. You can have the best, daily planning structures. You can have the best routines, but still you find yourself procrastinating. Why does this happen? Right? Let's get right into that. What I mean by motivation is you don't have a good enough reason to do something. So why on earth would you do it? If you don't have a good enough reason to do something, naturally you won't do it, right? So really what I saw in my journey when I started off was I wanted to get into starting up my business. I wanted to do certain things in my business. I even experience this sometimes even now. And the planning and the routines and all of them, they're effective, but they're only effective once you have the certain foundations. Just like principles versus techniques. The reason why I don't keep hampering on technique with you guys in my channel is because I know that the techniques are the top 10%, but you need to have the 90%, the actual foundations of it. Just like with stock trading, the 20% of it is just tactics and strategies, 80% of it is mindset. Most people neglect this and start to look for the tactics and strategies, even with their businesses and in other areas of their lives. They think about having a relationship with someone, they're like, ooh, what do I say? What do I text this girl back? Instead of actually becoming a genuine, attractive person, they start to make an excuse for, no, I'm fine. Let's look for the tactics and strategies that'll do it. Right? That's why I don't want to share with you the tactics and strategies, because there's 1,000,001 of them out there. But what you've got to know are the fundamentals, understanding what really makes you tick and what motivates you, what inspires you. Okay, so that's why I want to talk about this. So going back to the point of me starting off in my business, I remember I would set a task to do XYZ amount of YouTube videos and try to do this and try to do that. And I saw that every single day I would just keep putting it off, right? I was like, oh, I have this exam to study for. Oh, I have work right now, so I can't do it. I would just keep putting it off and off and off. But what happens is once you start to put these things off, you start to hit this, your excuse threshold, right? The pain gets strong enough to the point where you're like, oh shit, it cannot go on like this anymore. Then you make the decision to do the work. Just like with people, when the pain gets strong enough, then they're like, oh, I gotta fix this now. But when the pain isn't strong enough, they're like, oh, there isn't a problem. So why mess around with it? So it's kind of like that. The real question is, are you going to wait for the pain to get strong enough, or are you going to take action now and really solve this problem? That's the real question. So in talking about that, when I started off with my business, I struggled hard with procrastination. I would set tasks to research and do all of these and do all of that, but none of it would happen. There were many reasons why this procrastination happened, but the biggest one of them all is I just didn't have a good enough reason to do it. But another big reason is that people always look for the downsides. When I started off, I was like, oh, this is so much work. I don't even know if I'm going to get results from this. I don't even know if this is going to work. So this is, again, what we're going to discuss when we get to understanding the 3 keys. But for now, I want you to remember that the first part of it is this lack of motivation. Now, what kinds of motivations are there? I really want you to pay close attention to this one. There are essentially two types of motivations, two things that propel people. First of all, there is what we call the pain motivation, the fear, the oh no, if I don't do this, bad things will happen. So what pain motivation does is it keeps you stuck in survival mindset. Okay? This is effective for survival mindset. 99% of society is stuck in this survival mindset. They will do enough to help them get to a certain point, and then they won't do any more. They're like, oh, I'm comfortable here. Right? So 99% of society is stuck in this survival and motivated by pain, motivated by fear. So what I mean by motivation by pain is when your bank account is getting too low and you can't pay your bills, then you hit your lowest point, right? Then you hit your pain point and you're like, oh shit, I got to come back up from this. Oh no, I got to go back up. And then when you hit your high point and you're too comfortable, you're like, I did well in my business. I just did 10K last month. Why work? I'll just take a day off. This used to happen to me too. When I hit 5K a month, I hit my internal ceiling. So people have what we call this internal ceiling and this internal floor. When you get to your internal floor, the pain kicks in. It's just that your standards are too low. If you raise up your standards, then you're no longer going to be, stuck by these ceilings. Then you have a different ceiling. We will have a higher ceiling for you and a higher floor for you, right? So what you're going to do is take your lowest, your highest dreams and turn them into your lowest standards, but you can't do it overnight. Because then you'd just be frustrated and be like, oh, my lowest standards are 100K a month, so I should be doing 100K a month when you're just doing 5K a month in your business, right? So understand that there is the two types of motivation. First of it is pain. Now, both of these motivations are very, very important. I want you to know that. This isn't flawed at all. If you're currently struggling to survive and you're not really doing anything in your business, then pain motivation is going to be key for you. If you can't seem to do the work and you keep procrastinating on everything, then this pain motivation is going to be extremely key for you. Because the pain motivation helps you get up to a certain level. But then when you get up to that level, you hit a plateau. Because now, the pain motivation, you've already come to survival. So it doesn't benefit you anymore. Right? So if you look at the human being, the nature of the human being, there are two types of desires. There's the biological desire to keep this body alive. That's again the survival mindset. And then the infinite desire, which comes from your spirit, to become one again with the ocean. Because right now you're just a droplet. Your soul is a droplet that's moved away from the ocean and now it thinks it's the ocean, right? So it wants to return back to that vast infinite ocean. So that brings us to our second sort of motivation, which is the thrival mindset, which is pleasure, motivation by pleasure, which leads us to thrival mindset. So in thrival mindset, the important part is now this ceiling has been undone. Now you truly get to, I'm a droplet, I want to become an ocean, and you hit revolutionary heights. If you want your business to move up to a certain level, you want to get to thrival mindset. Survival mindset won't cut it anymore. Fighting every single day and, trying to force everything and forcing yourself to wake up and, it being a battle, it's no longer going to cut it. So I'll give you stages where I was in this survival mindset. Just when I quit my work and wanted to go full-time in my business, I took that leap. I had something to prove. I had something to prove to my parents. I had to prove to them that, you know what, I can do this. I can consistently generate 5K a month in my business, and it'll justify me quitting my job and doing this full-time. So because I had something to prove and I wasn't making anything at the time, then I was in survival mindset. Every single day was a battle. Every single day I had something to prove. I woke up and I was making 7 videos every single week, once a day, every single week, 7 videos per week. And it sort of burned me out. Even if you go back to my videos, you'll see my eyes like barely a lack of sleep, because I was going to bed at 10 p.m. and I would wake up at 5 a.m. and I would sleep very, very little. So because of that, I completely burned myself out, and even in work, I wasn't that productive, but I still was able to willpower my way to a certain level. But after I got to that level, I hit a plateau. I saw that one month I would do 5K a month in my business, then I would go to 8K and then come back down to 5K and then do 0 again, then come back up and down, up and down. I was riding this roller coaster because I would keep hitting my ceilings, keep hitting my floors, and come back up and go back down. So that wasn't quite effective for me. But then I started to understand this and really understand, what is it that I want to move towards? Because back then I was focused on what I wanted to move away from. I wanted to move away from, oh no, if I don't do this, then I'm not going to be successful. If I don't do this 7 videos a week, then I'm not going to be successful at getting to 5K a month. Oh no, I must do this. I must do that. Everything was so important back then, right? Even if you look at me, I was so much more attached. I was holding up this shtick, this gimmick. If you start to look at yourself over time, as you start to get conscious, you start to look back at your previous stuff and how you were, everything just seems like a gimmick and a shtick. And you become more and more you, more and more relaxed and more natural as time progresses. You'll even see this in my YouTube videos as it progressed over time. So I was very stuck in this motivated by pain, motivated by fear mindset. And that got me up to a certain level. When I wanted to move up, I saw that it was no longer cutting it. So I had to get clear about what it is I truly wanted with this. What is that infinite desire? And I had to remove and peel away all those layers. So from 5K a month moving to 20K a month, I had to get into this pleasure mindset. Okay, what do I want to move towards? What gives me pleasure every single day? Focusing more on that than what do I want to get away from? So you need this to come up to that level. I didn't want to procrastinate, so I was like, oh, what would happen if I didn't do this? If I didn't do this and if I procrastinated on this, then I wouldn't be successful in my business. Oh no, if I wasn't successful in my business, I would get shit from my parents and I would let them down, blah, blah, blah. Right? So I was using that as a motivation. It's effective, it gets the momentum started, but once the momentum is started, you sort of hit that plateau and you can't get to that next level. Getting to the next level is when you've got to get into this pleasure mindset. Okay, so now I want to share with you the 3 keys that will help you do this, that will help you transition from these different stages, going from pain to pleasure, going from fear to desire. Okay, so make sure you pay close attention to this. The number 1 key, which everyone misses out on, is taking responsibility. Okay, taking full and complete responsibility for where you are in life and where you want to go and basically everything that's happened. Responsibility. So what do I mean by that? You'll have a lot of people who make these excuses are like, oh, I can't do this because I'm like this. Oh, I can't do this because, I've done this definition and I've become this procedural person. I was defined as this procedural person. They let this definition haunt them for their whole lives and they sort of deflect out this personal responsibility to their definitions of themselves. Do you see that? You start to have this self-image about you. And because of that self-image, your identity becomes crafted a certain way. And because of that identity, you no longer can define yourself a new way, but you live from the past chapters of your life. If you keep living in the past chapters of your life, the future chapters won't get consciously written, but unconsciously continued from the past. This is very important. The solution to this, the solution to every single one of these things and even identity shifting is taking full responsibility for where you are right now and understanding that tomorrow is a new day. Anything can happen. Things can be drastically different from what it was today. Allowing yourself to truly believe that, because if you don't believe that, you won't take action on it, right? Taking full responsibility literally means getting into the realization that where I am in my life is not because of the definitions, not because of X, Y, and Z. It's solely because of me, who I have been, whether it be unconsciously or whether it be consciously, who I have chosen to be consciously or unconsciously. When you take full responsibility for where you are right now and don't let yesterday's failure, define tomorrow's events, then you will be able to move forward. Just because people have failed yesterday and 2 to 3 days ago when they've tried to take action, now they call themselves a procrastinator and they say, oh no, I'm a chronic procrastinator. This is just who I am. This, again, becomes more and more deeply ingrained within you as you keep unconsciously reverberating and repeating it. The key thing to do is just take responsibility and focus instead on what you want. Oh, so what? You failed yesterday. Today doesn't have to be like yesterday. Tomorrow doesn't have to be like yesterday. Things can completely change from this point forward. Okay? Number 1, take full responsibility. Number 2, this was an important question for me. If you find that you're a chronic procrastinator and you put off work and you put it off to the side and you've made this mission to, let's say, start off a business, but you just can't seem to put in the work, ask yourself, what are you sacrificing if you don't do this? What's the sacrifice? What am I sacrificing if I don't do this work? I will be stuck here like this for the rest of my life. Is that what I want? So you've got to be able to look at the future and see what your actions determine. Oh, if I were to continue doing this and keep this behavior up, what are the consequences of this? The biggest problem of mankind is they just don't know the consequences of their actions and they go about doing what they want. Every single action has a consequence, but we just don't look at the consequences. If you could be completely okay with the consequence of every single thing that you do, you'll be more and more conscious every single day about the things that you do. And then you would start to live the life that you want. So always be aware of the consequences of your actions. If I don't do this, what am I sacrificing? What does the next 5 years of my life look like if I keep continuing on like this? Do I want that? That's what happened to me when I quit my job, right? The reason I could make that decision to quit my job was because I was like, what's going to happen to me if I continue on like this? If I keep doing this job? Because chances are I wouldn't have got to 100K a month within 11 months of starting my business. It probably would have taken me 7 years or 10 years if I were at my job and I was trying to do it on the side, right? So I had to take that risk and I had to own that risk. It is a risk, but when you take big leaps, life will always back you up. When you always double down on that 2.0 self, on your purpose, life will always back you up. You just have to trust. The moment you have a single doubt, that's when it becomes a problem. That's when you get moved backwards and everything starts to stack up against you, right? What are you sacrificing if you don't do this? I always looked at what I would be sacrificing. Because if you don't sacrifice for your dreams, then your dreams become the sacrifice, right? I didn't want my dreams to become the sacrifice. So I wanted to sacrifice the temporary Netflix, the temporary, do the 9 to 5 and maintain the sense of security. Security is what kills you. We have this longing for security so bad that it's what we strive for. Security literally means survival, right? You want to be secure. You want to be comfortable. Comfort means death. Survival is literally the death of consciousness. Survival literally means I want to live unconsciously. I want to get to a certain point and just be unconscious. I want to get to this comfortable point and be unconscious, right? The life should be lived in such a way that every single day you feel like you're in a dark room trying to get out. That's how much consciousness should be there. You can rest when you're dead, but life is just such a brief sparkle, right? So ask yourself, really, what is it that you're sacrificing if you didn't do this? And you'll get better perspective on it. And the final key is getting clear. Getting clarity around what it is you want. So just get clear. And the 2 questions that will help you get clear is, what do I want? And why am I even doing this? This thing that I want to do, why is this even so important for me? What? And why? Ask yourself, why do you want to do this so bad? Why do you keep beating yourself up that you procrastinate? Maybe it's not that important. Is it important? Do you really want it? Why? Don't make a intellectual reason. Why do you really emotionally want it? Why is this so important for you? Why do you want to achieve this? For me, my why was, I don't want to be mediocre. Well, what do you want instead? I want to be extraordinary. I want to do something extraordinary. And that's what drives me every single day, right? When I wake up in the morning, that's what I think. That this has become a part of me. This is a living reality within me. Once you get clear on that, it becomes very, very easy. Because clarity literally means I know what the next steps are, so I'll just put one foot in front of the other. This 3rd point, again, leads to looking at the upsides versus the downsides. What happens subtly is whenever you look at that mound of work, you're looking at the last marker point of the marathon instead of taking the next step. What we seem to forget is that the marathon is run one step after the other. Instead of focusing on the next step, we look at the finish line and what we want. This happened to me the other day. I wanted to train my cat to do something, but I sort of expected the cat to just already do it. Instead of, focusing on the next step of training the cat, I just wanted the cat to just do what I wanted it to do and skip this whole step. So in life, we want to skip all of this stuff and just go around there and wave our wands and just get stuff. But the true joy comes from the immersion in the process itself, not achieving the goal. Achieving the goal is just this one speck that gives you a good feeling. But this process itself growing every day, building every day. That's where the true pleasure comes in, right? So that's what you've got to remember. Get really clear on what it is you want and why it's even important to you. And this is why in the Reality Mastery program, we work so hard to help people craft the foundations first before we move on to other stuff. Right? So with that, I conclude this video. I'm going to do a quick recap of what we talked about and how to completely eliminate procrastination. Procrastination occurs because of a lack of motivation. Right? You don't have a good enough reason to do something, why would you do it? Your 9 to 5 is too comfortable, why would you work on your business? And there are 2 types of procrastination. Number 1, the pain, fear-based. There are 2 types of motivation. Number 1 is the pain-based one. Right? You can be motivated by pain. When the pain gets strong enough, now you do the work. When you don't have money to feed yourself, now you go out there and do what's needed and you work hard on it. Now there's no question of procrastination because it's life or death. So life will always keep you in that survival mindset unconsciously. But if you want to get to that thrival mindset, you got to focus on the pleasure. What do you want to move towards, not what do you want to move away from? Pain is focused on what I want to move away from. Pleasure is focused on what I want to move towards. Right? And the 3 keys to help you overcome procrastination are: number 1, take full responsibility. Full responsibility for where you are in life right now. Not deflecting it off to some excuse or some definition someone has made of you, or some quiz has made of you, or some astrological reading that you've done. But take full responsibility for where you are right now. No one writes your destiny but you. You have the power to do that. Number 2, whenever you are procrastinating, look at the consequences of your actions. Start to look at the consequences, right? This is the important word. What's the consequence of me continuing on like this? What's the price that I'm paying? What is the opportunity cost? What is this costing me to go on like this? Because if you don't sacrifice for your dreams become the sacrifice. Number 3, get acutely clear on what you want and why you want it. What am I trying to move towards? Again, this is focusing on the pain, because you need both, right? You need the pain and you need the pleasure as well. What am I trying to move towards? Pain is, what am I moving away from? What do I want to move away from? The real problem is people stay stuck in pain for their whole lives because they stay stuck in this survival mindset. So get clear on what it is you want and why you truly want it. And you'll see that that path will start to do itself. You know, it'll start to unfold itself for you as you keep taking one foot in front of the other. That's very, very important. People expect the path to be laid out for them all at the beginning. That's not what clarity is. Clarity is knowing what you want and then moving more and more towards that. And then as you move in the right direction, the path gets clearer and clearer. It won't get clear from the first day, right? Because you've got to make those mistakes. You've got to make those iterations. This is your own path. You can't follow someone else's path. Even if you follow a proven system, you've got to know how this system works for you, right? And with that, I conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope this was helpful. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Hit that little bell there so you're notified of any new video that I put out. And also, I'm super excited to announce that, as I mentioned before, a couple of spots have opened up for the free one-to-one consult with me and my team for the Reality Mastery program. If you've been trying to sign up and you haven't found a spot, now's your chance. Click on the link in the description below to sign up, and I'll see you there. Now, who we typically work with in the Reality Mastery program are as follows. People who are professionals, first of all, they're really looking to transition out of their careers and start up their own businesses. But what they're seeing is they have the tactics and strategies. Those were never the problem. They're seeing other people become successful with the same tactics and strategies and the business models, but for some reason they can't. And why they can't is because they're seeing they have an internal problem. They have an internal ceiling. They're only worthy of the 9 to 5. The 9 to 5 is what they keep staying stuck at. That sounds like you. Click on the link in the description to sign up. If you're an entrepreneur as well who is stuck at a certain revenue level in your business, you want to scale up and make more money, and you have the business tactics and strategies, and you know what to do. You have the business mentors, but for some reason the doing isn't the problem, but it's an internal one. If that sounds like you, take this chance to sign up for the consult. Also, people who are creatives, who are looking to take their creative careers to the next level. And also, the free Facebook group is open for you to take advantage of. The link for that is also in the description below. I'm also going to attach a playlist that I think is going to be key for you guys. So I'm going to put in the pinned comments. So make sure you check that playlist out. It's going to teach you more about the subconscious mind and understanding that. But thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Peace!